Hey there, it is July 2026, right here in the middle of summer, and it's time to have a look at what's happening in the duplex, triplex, fourplex market on the east side and North Portland, parts of Portland, Oregon. So we're going to take a look at what's happening there. As far as I know, I am the only person who compiles a duplex, triplex, fourplex specific market report because also, as far as I know, I'm the only person who focuses entirely and exclusively on those three types of properties: duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. And why do I do that? Well, because I love them and I own a whole bunch of them myself. And I think it's a really, really cool little niche that regular people like you and me can use to grow great wealth and build great portfolios in real estate. Let's talk about what's happening in the market right now. So one of the things I always get to do as I create my report is decide what previous periods I want to compare it to, because now I've done this report many times. So here is going to be our current period, but I've compared it to this time 4 months ago in March of this year, just to have a little comparison with what was happening in a pretty recent manner. But then also I've gone back 13 months to the June, the middle of last year, to see what was going on then, and we can try to draw some conclusions about what is happening. So currently, the East Side and North Portland, and I group those together because I find that they have similar dynamics overall, kind of similar types of properties, similar ages of properties. And this is in the context of the city of Portland, the sort of bigger chunk, the West Side and South Portland, which is a separate video, has got a smaller number of these properties. So currently there are 139 of them available, which is up a fair amount from March and even up a little bit from the same time last year. Uh, in the last 30 days, we've had 23 new ones come on the market, which is pretty much in line with kind of the normal pace of new listings in two to fourplex properties. Currently, it would cost about 400, or excuse me, $843,000 to buy one of these. Very, very similar to what it was just a few months ago. Quite a fair amount more than it was a year ago. But of course, that price has a lot to do with how big is the property. Is this a duplex? Is it a triplex? Is it a fourplex? So that's why we look at the average number of units and ultimately come to a price per unit. Our price per unit being asked right now is 351,000, whereas it was 311 or 312,000. So about 40,000 more than it was on average per unit 4 months ago, and quite a bit more, 70 or so thousand than it was 13 months ago. Now, we have to put that in context a little bit too, because what exactly is a unit? I mean, a unit could be a fourplex full of studios. It could be a duplex with four-bedroom, two-bath units. And so those things need to be right-sized as well. And so that's why we look at price per square foot, because that tends to be more of a representative number across different types of units and whatnot. So our price per square foot in this product category of duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes on the east side and North Portland is $286 a foot, darn near exactly the same as it was 4 months ago, and only a hair more than it was 13 months ago. So we're seeing pretty consistent kind of, I guess you could say, pricing it from the perspective of price per square foot over the last, year or so. How well is it working? Well, our average days on market right now is 155, which in my opinion is kind of a big number. We have a lot of big numbers in terms of days on market in real estate in general right now. I would love to see that days on market be a little lower figure, but it is pretty similar to how it was 4 months ago. It's up a bit from where it was 13 months ago, but things are just they're just not selling quickly. It's not that they're not selling, it's that they're not selling quickly. But we're going to have a look at what's not selling as well as what is actually selling in just a moment. So currently 39 properties are pending. And so that's good. So we have 139 listed and 39 that are pending. So, about 178 or so that are kind of currently in the status of being sold one way or the other. And so I'm glad to see that there's a pretty reasonable number of pendings. There was last time too. The last couple of times we were showing in this report, And the days on market on average for these ones that are pending is 61. So that's an interesting comparison to say, well, the ones that are active are taking 155 days, but the ones that are pending only took 61 days. Well, what does that mean? The ones that were priced better went pending in a much more, expeditious manner, of course, which should be probably a no surprise to anyone. These are at an average price of 704 compared to an average price being asked right now of 843. So 61 days is actually pretty darn quick compared to how it was just 3 months ago, but not too different than how it was a year ago. Let's have a look at what's closed. So we've closed in the last 90 days, we've actually closed 35 of these. So there's 139 active right now, there's 39 pending, and there's 35 that were closed. And so that's, to me, encouraging. In the last 90 days, we've seen things getting done. We want to see the system work, the whole pipeline from I'm trying to sell this to it's pending to it actually is closing. And that's a really, really good thing. 645 to $6,000 per property, which then translates to $269,000 per unit. So it's kind of interesting always, in my opinion, to then go back and draw a correlation between, well, what are we asking price per unit right now, but what it's actually closing. Ooh, that's kind of that's a big gap. That's almost like a $70,000 price per unit gap between those. Now, again, price per unit can be skewed based on the unit type. So then we also have a little look at price per square foot, which in this case, what's getting the deals done is $272 on average per square foot. So again, let's draw a comparison to what's being asked right now. Price per square foot being asked is 286. What's happening is 272. Well, okay. I feel a little bit better seeing that because those numbers are different, certainly, but they're not tremendously different, right? It's not like we're asking $400 a foot and what's closing is $200. That would be a very troubling kind of a sign. But we're seeing that, yeah, there's a little bit of a reduction in price per square foot between what's being asked on the market right now and what's actually working. But these that are closing pretty fast at 64 days. So if our average right now is 155 days on market and what's actually being effective is getting it done in 64 days, we know these up here are still a little bit too high in terms of their prices. Last time we pulled, well, in March, the price per square foot was 238, which is pretty low. And before that, 13 months ago, the price per square foot was $252. So these numbers are varying a little bit, not tremendous variance, but a little bit of variance. The last thing I like to do is I like to have a look at what was on the market and then didn't sell, and what was pulled off the market either through the listing just expiring, sellers saying, no, I want to end this process and cancel it, or they just withdraw it and say, we're going to temporarily take it down and we'll put it back up probably later. How many of those happened in the last 90 days? Well, 63 of those happened. So 35 closed in the last 90 days, but 63 just, they hit the eject button and decided not to do it. So I wish that number was smaller, but that number is very consistent with how it's been over the last period here, at least year plus period. People are trying to list properties. I call this, it sounds a little cynical, but a fishing expedition. Let's just put it out there and see if somebody wants to buy it. They're not committed to selling it, obviously, or else they'd do what it took to adjust the price and terms to get it to a point where it's sold. And nearly twice as many as are selling are not selling. So I wish that was a little bit better news, but that is kind of the reality of where we are right now. But if you look at this and you want to sell a property, this is kind of what's getting the job done at this moment. So these are numbers that are averages, but what's not an average is your specific situation, your specific property, when you own and want to sell, when you don't own yet but would like to buy. Those are not generalities. Those are not averages. Those are unique to you. And I would love to talk with you about that unique situation and all the considerations that go into that. So call me anytime, 503-869-7303. Send me an email. Check out my website, jeff@oregonplex.com. And I will see you in the next market report. Take care.